Welcome back, everybody. A big question now is, could prostitutes at the center of the Secret Service sex scandal actually sue the agents? A lawyer for one of the alleged prostitutes in the case telling Colombian radio his client is not only willing to cooperate with U.S. officials, but that a lawsuit is possible. This is a 12th member of the military is now tied to the scandal. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta says all accused personnel are under review.
If these investigators find that there have been violations of the Code of Military Justice, violation of the standards I just talked about, those individuals will be held accountable.
Meanwhile, the White House says it spoke to team members who were in Colombia before the president's arrival and found no wrongdoing.
There's no indication that any member of the White House advance team engaged in any improper or conduct or behavior.
However, the top Republican on the Senate Judiciary Committee wants more detail and has a roster of unanswered questions. Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland joins me now. Sir, it's great to have you here. And first, let's talk about the news that one of the prostitutes is considering suing. Do you feel that this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better?
It's hard to say. Certainly, you know, the laws there are what they are. And if Colombia has laws that says that folks can be sued under certain circumstances as these, then there's not very much we can do about that. But we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it.
Sir, among the questions that Senator Chuck Grassley wants the White House to answer now is how long did this review take in reference to the internal in-house review that the White House did? Was the Pentagon involved? Were hotel records reviewed? And he wants these answered by Thursday. The White House is saying that none of their staffers have been found of any wrongdoing. So is that the case closed answer from the White House? And will there be a sense of an unwillingness to share information that puts the White House between a rock and a hard place?
Well, I don't know exactly what the White House will do or won't do, but what we do know is that their preliminary investigations have made it clear that no White House folks were involved in these kind of activities, and the Secret Service has confirmed that they've gotten no credible evidence to that extent. So I would think that maybe this is like sort of a fishing expedition, but certainly if the information comes out counter to what I just said, I'm sure it'll be properly addressed, not only by Senator Grassley, but our committee. But I don't anticipate that, just based upon what we know so far.
Sir, my colleague Chris Jansing asked Chicago Mayor and former White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel if he was confident about this case being handled correctly. This was his answer. Take a listen.
Am I confident? Yes, I'm confident because already some heads are rolled that needed to. But I also want you to remember there are good men and women in the Secret Service. So don't you all in the media paint a broad brush. Good people there. They're going to hold people that did wrong accountable, as they should. They'll ask real questions as it relates to the president's security and their professionalism as their operation.
Sir, so he's saying there, don't paint this with a broad brush. Is there concern, though, that this scandal will taint the White House and the Democrats when they put together that with the GSA spending scandal? Again, not trying to paint with a broad brush, but having these specific scandals back to back, they're going to add up. Does the mud stick?
No, I don't see any mud, and I don't see any sticking. The fact is, I think that here we had some bad actors in both instances. Certainly with the Secret Service, we're going to find out the extent of that by May 1st, but all indications are so far that we had some bad actors, but Rahm Emanuel is absolutely right. I know a number of our Secret Service folks. I've dealt with them for years, and I can tell you they are some of the best folks that we have working for us. And I think, and we have to be very careful that we don't judge anybody by any group by its weakest link. These folks are very proud, they're very professional, and they're outstanding at what they do. So I think we'll, again, as the Secret Service is going to be harder on itself than we could ever be, and they're doing a thorough investigation. I don't know what more they can do with regard to investigating this matter.
Sir, while I have you here, I also want to ask you about the allegations right now against Wal-Mart and the fact that it may have used bribery to speed its expansion process in Mexico. Both you and Henry Waxman want a face-to-face meeting with the company's CEO, Michael Duke, about the New York Times and its report. What specifically do you want to ask him, and why do you want to do that face-to-face?
Well, we want to know exactly what the company's position was with regard to all of this. As you know, after quite a few years and subsequent to investigations by the Times, New York Times, they then decided that they were going to self-report, which and they are basically self-reporting criminal activity. And we want to know exactly who was involved in this and why. And keep in mind, they also are responsible for reporting information to the SEC because they're shareholders that are involved. So it's our business to look into it. Of course, we'll be working very closely with justice so that we don't interfere with what they're doing. But again, the Congress has a duty, and we're going to look into it as we should.
Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland. Sir, thanks so much for joining me this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The Pentagon is